Yes, indeed. Allow me to explain a bit the purpose of the visits that the President will start next week. So indeed, the purpose, the aim and the plan is to visit as many countries as possible, and possibly all of them in a sequence linked to our assessment and the start of operations under NextGenerationEU. And subject to the finalization of our assessment and to college adoption, frankly, the plan is indeed to hand over the result of our assessment and our recommendation to the Council to approve the respective national recovery plans. But the idea of this visit is also to recall the European priorities that these national recovery and resilience plans need to follow through the implementation over the whole duration of the recovery and resilient plans. The President is also planning to visit projects that are or will be funded under the national recovery plans during all those visits. Now, regarding the sequence, I announced to you the names of the countries that the President is going to visit next week. I do not have details or confirmations about the next countries to follow, but as plans and preparations and our assessments advance, we will be very glad to keep you posted. Regarding press arrangements, we will do our utmost to ensure, of course, substance coverage of or accompanying of the adoption of every plan. So we will strive to, on one side, to organize technical briefings for you here in order to exchange with you and to engage in the details of our assessment. And, of course, there will be a press opportunity for the local press corps on the spot in the countries that the President is visiting. I will invite you, though, to save the second question on cryptocurrencies for later, just in case there are additional questions on this matter of RRF and visits by the President to the Member States. So if you have questions about this, please raise your hand. I will not be in a position to give you details about the process that would lead us from here to the adoption of the opinions and the trips of the President. What I can tell you is that we are really in the last miles of our assessment of this country's plans, following very close work between our teams, the Commission's team and the teams from those countries. But there are indeed a few steps to complete, and subject to the finalization of our assessment, which is indeed, as I said, very advanced. We are really talking about the last stages there. And subject to the college decision, the President is indeed planning to hand over the result of that assessment and our recommendation to the Council on the approval of those plans. But we will be in a position to make more detailed announcements about the steps of the procedures as we go, sometimes next week.
As you may know, the Commission received Romania's resilience plan and has begun its evaluation, an in-depth evaluation of the plan. This process is underway, so the information to the effect that the Commission rejected the Romanian plan is not correct. During this evaluation period, the Commission remains in close contact with the authorities of the countries concerned, in this case Romania, as regards the recovery and resilience plans. We continue to maintain these exchanges with Romania, the Romanian authorities, and that is part and parcel of the regulation which specifies that these contacts should continue during the evaluation period. The purpose of these exchanges is to clarify open issues, to ask for further clarifications if required. And during this evaluation period, we cannot comment on any of the measures contained in the plan or give any preliminary evaluation. As my colleague has just pointed out, we will be presenting our assessment of the plans once we have completed our evaluation, and it will be accompanied with a technical document clarifying the content of our analysis. The Commission, the regulation on recovery and resilience specifies that the Commission has 2 months to analyze the plans. The countries concerned can ask for this evaluation period to be extended, as is the case with Romania, which asked us, indeed, to extend the evaluation period, which we agreed to do. So let me confirm that, though, that this does not mean that Romania will lose access to the funding provided under the facility, the Recovery and Resilience Fund. Our analysis continues. As regards stock-taking of the plans which have been presented, as you will be aware, no doubt, the Commission has received 23 plans and only 4 are still missing. Thank you.
So, as I said, we have a group of 5 countries which the President is going to visit next week. I can't give you any details of the other countries she will be visiting later on. She will be visiting hopefully all the countries, but at the moment we are still assessing the recovery and resilience plans by the member states. That's ongoing. Now, Italy did submit its plan fairly swiftly after the first group of countries, that's true, and it's important, but it's not the only criteria. We also have to look at our assessment and evaluation of the recovery and resilience plans, and there could be an intense debate with the member states. So at this stage, I can't give you any details of any other visits that might be planned. I can't tell you any details about possible visits to Italy or other countries. I think there may be other questions.
Because your hand is up. Now allow me simply to repeat in a very succinct way what I said before. Indeed, the plan is for the President von der Leyen to hand over herself the result of our assessment on the national recovery and resilience plans, and to emphasize the strong link with the European priorities which underpin Next Generation EU. So without entering into the details, the procedural details leading to the adoption of the college decision, because as I said, all of that is subject to the finalization of our assessment and to the college decision. But you can expect, of course, the assessment then to become public and available on the day when the President hands over the assessment to the government leaders of those countries. Regarding Portugal's timeline and the timing of any Council decision on this, it is impossible for me to speculate, and I will not attempt doing that. It is in the hands of the Council, so you are better placed to ask that question to them. But of course, we are interested in having a smooth and swift adoption, because the idea is to proceed and to trigger the rollout of funding, which is important for our recovery.
The decision-making process by the College is applicable here. There will be a decision by the College, and following the standard principles, the College meets once a week. So if all the proposals were to be agreed verbally with debate, time would be lost. So I can tell you that there will be written procedures for certain plans. I can't tell you which countries, it will depend. But as you know, we often use this written procedure because it allows us to make swift decisions without waiting for a meeting of the College. Now, your second questions. This is for Marta. Thank you. As I already mentioned, the rules lay down the possibility for the member states to ask for an extension for the assessment period. Article 19(1). So the member states and the Commission can agree to extend the assessment period for a reasonable period if necessary. Several countries have made such a request, and the Commission has agreed to this. 5 member states requested this extension: Slovenia, Poland, Croatia, Romania. So, just to explain, this extension means that there is more time to clarify any outstanding questions, have an exchange of information, and be sure, ultimately, that the plan is robust. I can't go into detailed reasons for the extensions for the different countries, but ultimately, yes, this will all be taken into account in the assessment. There is indeed the possibility to amend their plan after an exchange of information and a dialogue. And all member states can do this, even if they haven't requested an extension. There is a dialogue that takes place between the member states and the Commission, an exchange of information, and this could lead to certain amendments. Thank you very much, Marta. Indeed. The intention is to announce the outcome of our assessment of the recovery and resilience plans by the member states and to present our recommendations to the Council on these plans. Now, obviously, as I said, the assessment is nearly finished, but we haven't entirely concluded these assessments. But we are confident that on the basis of the work done so far and the exchange with these specific countries, we will be ready next week to give our opinion. And for Spain, that will probably be the 16. But as I said before then, we still have certain things to finalise, and a decision from the college will have to be taken. Why is the President visiting these member states? Well, because it's very important. We are at the start of a very important procedure for Europe and also for our efforts to have a recovery. So the President is going to be presenting the results of our assessments of the specific plans. She's going to emphasise how important the link is with the European recovery plan. And it's not just about the criteria of these plans, but the implementation over the entire period of Next Generation EU. Projects obviously will be financed by these plans, and the recovery and resilience plans and Next Generation EU is extremely important for the EU, and the President has invested an awful lot in Next Generation EU and this process of recovery and resilience plans. That's why she's going to visit these countries. Our intention is to announce our results of the assessment. But there are still 2 steps before we reach that stage. We still have to finalise our assessment. We're nearly there, but we haven't reached that stage yet. And then there has to be a decision by the college on this. So First, we have to finalise the assessment. A college has to take a decision, and then the President will present the results of the assessment to the Spanish government.
We have a flexible decision-making process, which involves all the college members, but in two particular stages. There's firstly the oral procedure, where the college members adopt during the decisions during the meeting, which take place on Wednesdays or Tuesdays. And then we have, that's oral procedure, then we have a written procedure. Many of our decisions are adopted by written procedure, which involves all the members of the college, but which can take place, which can lead to decisions being made outside of the weekly meeting of the college. In principle, the college can adopt decisions any day of the week. So this means that one can adopt decisions in a more flexible way without undue delay and without having to wait until the next meeting of the college. As you know, when we receive a recovery and resilience plan, we publish a full list of those which we have received. 23 member states have done so, and indeed, of the 4 remaining, Malta, Bulgaria, Netherlands, and Estonia. As regards the follow-up, as we explained already in the past, the date of 30th of April, which appears in the regulation, this is an indicative date, the date at which the member states are invited to present their plan, but it's not a legal requirement to do so. These member states, it's up to them to decide when they feel that they're ready with their recovery and resilience plan and ready to submit it. So we invite, indeed, the member states, or remaining member states, to send their plans as quickly as possible, but in legal terms, they still have time to do it at a later stage. Thank you.
I'm not talking here about plans to be approved and plans not to be approved. What I'm talking about is the fact that the President will visit a certain number of countries where she will present her assessment of the national recovery plans of those countries. And if our finalization, the finalization of the evaluation goes well, and pending a decision by the College, the President will indeed present an assessment which would be a proposal to the Council to approve those plans. So I told you what the 5 countries are that will be visited next week. And it's for you to deduct which countries are not visited next week, according to the planning that we have at this stage on Friday, 11th of June.
We were saying that we're at a very advanced phase in terms of evaluating the plans for these 5 countries. So, in other words, we're very close to the finish line. So that is why there's still just 2 points that have to be undertaken. So we're very close to the finishing line. Before the decision by the College, the President will present the results of our evaluation, which, if the College approves, will be our proposal to the Council will be to approve the plan. That is the institutional procedure to be followed. We propose to the Council to approve the respective plans of the countries concerned. So there will be decisions, a series of decisions by the Council in each of the plans presented, and depending on the state of play, we will be able to say that we expect that there will be an announcement on the recommendations to the Council for certain countries to be made next week.
So what I have announced is the visits that the President is going to visit next week, 5 countries. that you will travel to next week, and the basically implication that we are close to the finishing line on the evaluation of the plans from those 5 countries. With the other countries, work continues, and we hope to be able to complete our evaluations rapidly, and I hope that we will be in a position to announce new finalizations or new progress and perhaps new trips next week. But that's all what we can say regarding the countries that are not on the list of countries that will be visited by the President next week. The publication of documents, so like always, you will have documents from the Commission published once they were adopted by the College, and never before. So we will be making available the documents and the result of the assessment of the plans once they were adopted by the College, whatever the procedure will be written or oral. So I cannot tell you at what point exactly, but once adoption is completed, the documents will become public. Regarding the countries, the intention is indeed for the President to visit as many countries as possible, hopefully all of them, but of course it will also depend on finding suitable dates and making logistic arrangements in order to meet her counterparts in the Member States, but that is indeed the wish that the President has to convey herself the result of the assessment and to have a meaningful exchange about that and about the implementation of the national recovery plans with all government leaders. So if it works logistically, hopefully, indeed, she will visit the largest number possible of countries, if not all.
For your question, the regulation does provide for delegated acts and in particular a methodology to quantify social expenditures. The regulation states that the delegated act should be in place by the end of this year, so we still have a bit of time left, but we are indeed working on it, and we will try to follow the procedure stipulated in the regulation, which involves consulting the member states concerned on the delegated acts with the observers from the European Parliament. We are indeed working on to prepare these as quickly as possible, but we still have some time left. So I think it will probably be for autumn this year. Thank you very much, Martha. And I think the last question on this issue is from David. Pascal has a follow-up question. Pascal first. Don't have any proposals, anything to announce for the President's plans next week. But indeed, what I can say, and can announce the 5 visits where we do have confirmed dates. We have a lot of other visits which are being planned or discussed, but I can't tell you at this point in time, at this particular time, on Friday, 11th of June, I can't give you the precise times or dates until we have an agreement between the President and her interlocutors in the Member States about the precise timing of the visit and how this can be organized. But I just want to clarify that, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I just want to clarify that other visits are being planned or being discussed, and these could take place shortly afterwards. Thank you.
So, of course, the Commission takes note of the resolution adopted by the Parliament yesterday on the conditionality mechanism regarding the rule of law. We will formally reply to this resolution, as we always do with such resolutions. Now, in terms of our position on the matter, I don't think I can add many new elements with regard to what Commissioner Hahn said on Tuesday when he conducted the first ever college readout of his career. Of course, the Commission is absolutely committed to applying the regulation that came into force on the 1st of January. We've been working hard in the past 5 months, past 5.5 months, to identify possible cases that could be brought under the mechanism, and we have been working hard on the guidelines as well. Now, what will happen next week is that the Commission will try to present these guidelines, the draft guidelines, to the Parliament and the Member States. We would like to make sure that the views of the Member States and the Parliament are duly taken into account before we move further. But here I would like to quote what Commissioner Hahn, in fact, said on Tuesday, because I think this is very important. So I quote, "What we need is a successful start in order to give this instrument a power and the necessary relevance and importance, with the final goal to change situations that are not in line with our rule of law understanding." He also said that these guidelines should be, I quote, "well prepared in order to make sure the mechanism is successful and we do not risk being corrected by a court ruling." So on top of this, I should add that we will, in the end, ultimately also take into account the views of the Court of Justice on the guidelines as appropriate. But I think the main point here, and this is what we have been repeating time and time again, the regulation is in force. It came into force on the 1st of January. It can be applied retroactively. Therefore, no case will be lost.